Hello and welcome to Rolling with Two. I'm Will, and with me as always is the one who jukes and jabs to her jukebox.
Sarah.
You punch it out.
I'm not going to punch a jukebox.
Well, I hope not. That just makes you crazy. And today we're doing a two-player perspective and accessibility for Vinyl Jukebox. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. Vinyl Jukebox is a bag building and drafting game focused on organizing 45s in your jukebox to meet a variety of goals. The coins in your bag allow you to buy 45s. Completing rows and columns in your jukebox allows you to claim goals. Whoever fills their jukebox first triggers the end of the game, and then the player with the most points at the end of that round wins. Okay, so Will, how does the game change for two players?
Well, it changes in the fact that it doesn't want any other players.
Yeah.
Because it's a two-player only game. And there is no bot. You just have to play Nana music when you play.
Yep, so this is a two-player only game. So looking at what it does, like what the issues are, what it does well, there's actually just one thing. This is not really a head-to-head two-player game. A lot of two-player only games do pit the two players really competitively.
Yeah. Like I'd have to take down all your hit points.
Right. This is more of, there is drafting denial, although we found most of the time you're going to go with what's best for you first, and it's only going to be incidentally.
Oh, you're here?
Yeah, kind of thing. So the good, bad news is depends on whether you like this or not. If you like head-to-head games, this one might not be for you. If you don't like head-to-head games, this one might be for you.
Right.
I think I said that right.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the most head-to-head thing about this game is once someone gets all 9 records, the game's going to end. You're going to have an equal number of turns, but that race to the finish might feel like a head-to-head pressure.
Yeah,
that's as close as it comes.
Yeah, because you can't lollygag around type of thing.
No lolly, no gagging.
No gag. All right. Accessibility. So the downside is the rule book is just not clear and it's not comprehensive.
Yeah, it hops around to different ideas, and sometimes it says clearly when something ends, but it never says when you can say buy records.
Right, like
there's a section talking about buying records, but it doesn't put it in context with your turn.
Right, there is no turn overview. So it talks about you can do this or this. And there are a few points where it says you cannot do this, but then after it talks about all those things, then it's like, oh, and then you can buy. And it's like, well, wait, which one of these things do I buy after?
Yeah, because it told me I end my turn, so I wouldn't think I could buy after that.
But after one of them, it didn't say anything, so maybe that's one. So there are definitely just areas where this rule book feels very unfinished. I am pretty sure it was, I hate to say this way, probably not blind play tested, because giving the rules, us trying to learn how to play the rules, we kind of had to fill in a lot of gaps based on our knowledge of playing other games, our knowledge of designing games. And that's a big burden to put on a game player.
Yeah, and plus the errors sprinkled throughout.
Oh yeah, there's grammatical errors. One side of the box does say that it's for 2 to 5 players, but it's not.
No.
So, and the other big problem is it kind of feels like this game has been forgotten, because normally we go to Board Game Geek, go to the forum for the game and look for answers, post questions if we need to, but there's no posts. So I didn't even post any questions because I'm like, I don't even know if anyone's going to come here and look at this. I don't know. It feels like it was made and then just there's a thing. It was made.
Well, they were also reprinting vinyl.
And vinyl seems like a really good game. It's just we'll talk about that when we get to our review video. But there's a reason we were looking forward to this, is we were hoping this would fit our bill for what we wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other issues we had, the genre icons are just not identified. And it's all from the, what was it? The
40s, 50s,
40s, 50s, and 60s, which we are familiar with some of it. So like there was somebody who looked like Elvis. And so we assumed that was like rock and roll. And
a boot for country?
Country, no.
Not a boot. Cowboy hat?
No, it was a guitar.
A guitar.
I think it was a guitar, and we figured that was country.
And a horn for like jazz. Or
Right. But then there were other ones like this, what looked to be a woman with orange hair.
And a fedora.
And then there was a guy with a fedora. And
so we listened to fedora music.
Right. So
which
here's...
could be crooners.
Yeah. We just, it would have been nice to know for sure for people like us who are familiar with some genres of music, but not all genres. It's nice to have a language, especially for Will's vision disabilities. I have to have a language so I can tell him what's available. So we made it up. There was orange-haired lady, there was fedora, there was horn, Elvis,
and country.
And country.
The staple genres of the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
And we even showed the icons to a friend of ours who really does like a lot of music, and he was also slightly baffled, and he's like, yeah, this could be, like Will said, crooners for one of them, and jazz for the, yeah, it's just, it would have been nice.
Yes.
Speaking of the icons, they are a bit artsy, and where this is a problem is from a distance, because you've got this laid out on the table. Now, granted, with 2 players, you can keep most of it closer to you, but there were still points. I mean, my vision still is better than Will's, but that's not, I mean...
But you're the one that has to then describe them. So at a distance, you are struggling not having a vocabulary.
Right. So I had to pick up some of the tokens frequently. And this is mostly about the genres. Like the years were very clear.
A side, B side.
The A and B were very large. So not all of them were bad. It's just when it came to these genre icons, they made them a bit too artsy to be useful as clear at-a-glance icons. Oh, the goals. You want to talk about the goals?
So there are 4 scoring metrics. Each player will get 2 cards to look over, and you keep them, and you'll score one of them at the end of the game. On the top of the card, there's going to be 3 specific genres in 3 specific spots, because ultimately, when you're done, you will ideally have a 3x3 grid of records in your jukebox. So you want to make sure that those genres are in those locations. Then at the bottom of the card, there's going to be 2 options, A side, B side, and I think years. And then based on the number of those that exist in your jukebox will also give you points. So those are already 3 metrics just on a 1 card. Then you look over on the side of the board where all the records are, and there's going to be, when you finish a row or column, you'll look to see which one of those you'll score and starts grabbing those. Mm-hmm. Now those, you're just going to look when it happens and find, so you could aim for them.
You can try to plan. I mean, like, there were a few that I tried to plan for when I was like, but I was already like, I had 2, I don't know, country. So then it's like, oh, if I get a 3rd country, then I can get the more valuable scoring for country.
Yeah, but if not, you had 40s, so that's good enough points.
Right.
So there's always usually going to be something you can score.
Right.
And then I think you have a limit as to, like, if you already get the country one, you can't get the other country one.
No, it actually never specified that.
Oh, okay.
It just said on a turn when you are scoring a column or row, you can only gain 1 goal token. Yeah. So you could meet multiple. Like, let's say you actually qualify for 3 of them. You only get to take 1.
Yeah. But if you're scoring a row and a column at the same time, you'll get 1 for each.
Exactly. But you can't grab all 3 just because the 1 column had, 2 20s, 3 country, and 2 A's.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then lastly, the scoring cards are supposed to be kept secret, but because they're so visual, I told Will about his, and I don't think it really made a difference. The main reason to keep it secret is just so other players have a little less to think about. Because again, this is not a game where you're going to go and try to deny someone else what they need. Yeah, I accidentally did it to you, but
twice or 3
times. But it
was
because I did the choice that was best for me.
Right. So it had nothing to do with me. It's just like, oh, well, there goes my choice there. Okay.
But once I read him his goals, I wasn't paying attention to what his goals were because I needed to pay attention to mine. it was just too cognitively overwhelming to really care.
Yeah.
But they are meant to be kept secret. So if you are playing with someone more visually, with more vision challenges, you may need to keep it played open-handed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's everything that's not so good. Let's go over what it does good. The components are big, and they are easy to handle. Organizing the tokens can take a little bit, so that also is kind of a downside. But
because you also need to make sure to mix up like the records to go front and back.
Right, so there's a little bit there. Some of the text is, very clear, has good contrast, so it's not all vision, issues.
It's mostly the genres that we're giving
It's just the genre icons, really. And the rest of it is open information, so that is always a good thing. So let's go over the conclusion.
So for 2 players.
Well, I mean...
It's a 2-player game.
It is light, but complex. Like, I really think this was meant to be a very light game.
Right.
But those goal scoring things make it a bit complex.
The other thing that made it complex was the unclear rules.
Yeah, that's true.
Just trying to wrap your head around, like, well, when is this supposed to happen?
Right.
It shouldn't have been as complex as it was, because I think they even have a few elements in there, like when you do this on your turn, the other person does this. And like, oh, that helps speed things up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are elements that it struggles against versus what the design is. Mm-hmm. So it's like mechanically and experientially going in opposite directions.
Right. It's meant to be a light experience, but mechanically it's not really light.
Sadly, 2 players, yes, it is designed to be 2 players, so yes.
Yes. You might want to watch our review video on whether we actually recommend this.
Yes. So accessibility.
It's manageable, but as you said, the rulebook isn't great. So for what is supposed to be a light, fun experience can be cognitively challenging until you just make up your own house rules and play it the way you want to play it. And then it's probably fun.
Probably. Maybe. All right. And speaking of which, Sarah, where can people find our opinion on this game?
YouTube?
Yes, but what do they need to search for?
Oh, yes. So we're rolling with 2.
But it's specifically rolling with reviews.
Oh, yes. Our rolling with review videos. I don't know what you want here. Yeah. Our rolling with review videos go over our opinion, what we like, what we don't like, who we think it's for. So we're not just, negative all the time.
Yes. And why would you ever roll with just one when you can be
rolling with 2?
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with 2, that's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.